I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the reason we're here today is because that is the closest thing to each of our hearts. It's the most dear and precious thing to each of us, that we can worship God not just in our churches on Sunday, but with our lives every day.
To be here and to see so many families and children here today. Great way to start your summer vacation, yes? Standing up to protect and defend our nation's extraordinary freedom of religion. The fact that there are so many young people here is reassuring indeed. Yet, if historians one day look back on the rise and fall of the American Republic, it won't be our habitual deficit spending and lack of financial discipline they blame for our demise, but the deficit of faith and lack of religion in our children's generation. The beliefs and values that have served as the foundation of our government and the moral compass for our society for more than 200 years already have been so undermined among our youth that it may take a miracle to restore them. The Bible says nothing is impossible with God, but the spiritual revival we need may test that theory. Sadly, our kids' generation is growing up that believing America is meant to be free of religion and not free for religion. You might wonder where they get such a notion until you remember that one of the fastest growing student groups in America is the Secular Student Alliance, an organization that envisions a future free of irrationality and dogma. Increasingly, our children are told they can't speak out about their beliefs if such views can be construed as religious bigotry. Similarly, media directed at our nation's youth is decidedly secular and even holds religion and religious believers in disdain. And you'll see what I mean. Or just trust me on this, because that's 30 minutes you can never get back. Is it any wonder that in such a culture, researchers say young Americans are dropping out of organized religions at 5 to 6 times the historic rate? Freedom from religion appears to be winning. And if the HHS mandates remain intact and ultimately are forced upon religious institutions and other employers of moral conscience, the notion of religious freedom as we know it will be a thing of the past. This is why we are here today and in more than 160 cities all across the nation to stand up for religious freedom and declare our opposition to this unconstitutional, immoral, and unacceptable mandate. We cannot and we will not accept a regulation that requires religious institutions and individual employers of conscience to provide free contraception, sterilization, and abortifacient drugs as part of the standard health insurance package required by law. We cannot and we will not let our religious liberty be eroded by being forcibly required by our government to betray our religious convictions. And we cannot and will not respond complacency to this act of government overreach, because doing so would sacrifice the religious liberty of generations to come. Alarmingly, Our children are growing up in a time when the freedoms we have taken for granted remain only precariously guaranteed. If religious freedom goes, the dominoes fall quickly. But let me be clear. Nothing indicts us as a generation of adults more than the unbelief of our children. That our youth are doubtful of God means they have been abandoned not by God, but by those whose obligation is to lead them to his service. In a country where it seems nothing is sacred and everything is fodder for the amusement of cynics, and where reverence has long since been replaced by political correctness, we must return God to the public square and to the hearts and minds of our children. By instilling simple respect for the faithfulness that inspired our founding, we can recapture the reverence that caused our nation to be. From reverence comes blessedness and the enduring promise that is America. Standing at the intersection of politics and parenting, I view our nation's future not only as an alarmed citizen, but also as the mother of 4 children. I believe they and their generation deserve much more than the politically motivated, unprincipled, and unjust solutions of the HHS mandate. In 1775, a great American dad, John Adams, wrote to his wife Abigail. He said, "Liberty once lost is lost forever." The liberty won for us by our founders was meant for us, but also for the generations that follow us. We are obligated then to recommit ourselves to the stewardship of a country whose legacy could too easily be betrayed by our indifference. Adams also said, children should be educated and instructed in the principles of freedom. Their citizenship depends upon that education and instruction, and ignorance will be their undoing and our fatal mistake. We who are lucky enough to have been born in this nation at this time in history now face the responsibility of securing once again the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. We face a daunting task, but one worthy of the heirs of the original American patriots, to instill in the next generation the virtues that will compel them to defend the gift of our American heritage. Fortunately, that heritage engendered a unique and admirable American character, one that embodies a spirit of optimism and ingenuity, independence and civility, grit and guts, faith and sacrifice, loyalty and love. That heritage and the religious liberty it affords is the birthright of every American child and our duty to safeguard and bestow. Thank you very much.
We invite you to use your voices now. Let's be heard.